Hello and welcome to the news here on Magic Breaks Now, India's first property business channel. I'm Krishna Kumar. Let's take a look at the top stories that we're tracking. Green norms for construction are finally out. Big move to improve the ease of doing business for the real estate industry. Will this move make buying homes more affordable? Magic Breaks Now gets you that report. Investors make a beeline to sign major investment deals with the Maharashtra government. 6 lakh crore rupees of investments, over 2,500 MOUs signed, all on day 3 of the Make in India week. And things only get better for Maharashtra. The Chief Minister unveiled AURIC, Aurangabad Industrial City. Magic Bricks Now brings you exclusive details from MIDC. 9 lakh affordable homes to be built in Maharashtra. The announcement comes from the Chief Minister himself at the Make in India forum. But builders take the announcement with a pinch of salt. They demand an affordable housing policy first. News from the national capital. South Delhi Corporation implements the 3rd Municipal Valuation Committee report. Several corporates like GMR, Fortis and Max, among others, will have to cough up property tax up to 6 times higher than their current outgo. This would mean a 150 to 175 crore rupees in revenues for the corporation. In a big move to improve the ease of doing business for the real estate industry, the central government has released a new set of green norms for construction. The norms will provide relief to real estate developers who earlier had to go through the tedious process of taking 100 environmental compliance clearances that would in some cases take up to 3 years. Faster clearances brings down the cost of construction, which in turn could bring down the prices of our dream homes. Deepa Rana gets us his report.
The central government has decided to relax environmental norms. Earlier, the developers had to comply to 100 norms, file them with the state and the centre before they would receive their final environmental clearance. But now, the Urban Development Ministry and the Ministry of Environment have reduced these green norms and revised the green norms and brought them down to a maximum of 23 clearances. The new Green Building Code categorizes projects based on their size. The projects between 5,000 to 20,000 square meters will have to take 9 clearances. Projects between 20,000 square meters to 50,000 square meters will have to take 14 clearances. Projects between 50,000 square meters to 1,50,000 square meters will have to take 23 clearances. Now, coming to the permissions which the developers will have to take includes solid waste management, rainwater harvesting, water drainage system, etc. Also, this will help in enhancing the process, as now the municipal corporations will be the ones giving permissions, which will help in quicker approvals and delivery of projects in time.
So how will this impact the industry? Will approvals get quicker? To answer this and more, we do have Ashutosh Limaye, Head Research at JLL, joining us live here on the news at Magic Bricks Now. Ashutosh, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us over here. Firstly, this is a change the industry has been asking for, for a very long time. What sort of impact, according to you, will this have on the industry?
I think it will be linked to projects which are more than a certain size. I hope so. Not each and every project has to go through this, but I think projects which are big, which are more than a certain size, where I can understand the logic. But by and large, what it means is it will add one more clearance to secure. And if the pertinent agency is not well equipped in India, that is often the case, then it will add to the time that is required for securing permissions, and more time means more holding cost. So the cost of project goes up. So I think such provision or such introduction, if the government intends to make, it should ensure that the competent agency does have the capacity to process the applications within reasonable time, and the agency should be made accountable to process that application and decide on it, either approved or not approved with whatever reason, within a predefined time.
Ashutosh, I wanted to ask you, if like you said, the local authorities are not in a position to handle this new responsibility, will this change do more damage than actually good?
I am supporting the concept of allowing the local agencies and the state agencies to take call on environmental issues for project of a certain scale. So decentralization is good, but it is good when you have parallel capacity building of those agencies. So I think when those agencies are not well equipped, then more time passes before the approval happens, and during that time the project finances suffer, that's one, but the environmental condition that is to be met with this approval may deteriorate. So I think from that sense, a speedy approval or a decision with good reasons will do good to environment, and if the accountability or the time limit is not set or not followed, then probably it will do harm to the environment.
I wanted to check, as a curious home buyer, will there be a cost benefit for the developer community if this change manages to bring down the time taken to get these approvals?
Most certainly. I think there are two types. One is for some projects there might be some environmental impact assessment that needs to be done on ground, and that takes time. We all understand that. But at times what happens is the competent agency or the committee doesn't meet frequently enough, or simply is loaded with so many proposals that despite doing their best they are not able to process them on time, and that's why the delay happens. But as the government is saying that it wants to reduce the number of clearances, and at the same time I'm told they are trying their best to build capacity to the agencies, and assuming that the permissions take shorter duration for developers to obtain, very clearly the holding cost will come down, and in today's environment I think developers will be happy passing on that benefit to consumers as well.
That's right, Ashutosh. That's why I wanted to ask you one last question before letting you go. Tell us, where will we see the largest cost benefit translate into a price benefit?
No, I don't think any one particular city or market could be considered as the maximum impact receiving micro market, because as you said, it's a national policy. It's going to be applicable to every state, and so far as it's a national policy, it should affect positively or negatively depending on it how well it is implemented to various markets in equal manner.
Ashutosh Limai, Head Research at JLL. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the news on Magic Bricks now to put that big news into perspective. Now we're sticking to that big story. My colleague Deepa Rana also caught up with Navin Raheja of Raheja Developers and asked him if the government's environmental norms would in fact help the industry. Take a look.
Really speaking, till now 20,000 square meters projects didn't have to go for environment clearance. Now they have included them as well and delegated to urban local bodies. So I personally feel that the norms have been made stricter and everybody has been covered into it. But the norms have been made more clear and I think better in understanding and implementation as well. So overall, if we look at it, it's a welcome step, but it would have been much better that once the government is already talking about single window clearance, if the same norms can be integrated into the master plans and delegated, whether it is for projects up to 20,000 square meters or whether it is projects above 1,50,000 square meters. Actually, we should bring everything towards ease of doing business. But at the same time, we should be looking at long-term sustainability of environment.
On to the other big story that we're tracking over here. The Maharashtra government saw a slew of major investments and signed several MOUs since the Make in India week began. Over 6 lakh crore rupees have been committed to the state by several international and Indian companies. So which cities in Maharashtra will benefit most? Ruchi Deshpande, who's at the event, gets us his ground report.
About 6.11 lakh crore worth of investment and 2,560 MOUs are the investments and MOUs that have been signed till the day 4 of Make in India week here, that is being held in Mumbai in Bandra Kurla complex, and this is the amount of investment that Maharashtra government has received till date. Just to give you a breakdown of the investments, coming in at the first rank is the international auto giant Mercedes-Benz, who has agreed to pump in about 80,000 300,000 crore worth of investments in its plant in Jharkhand. Moving close to its heels and closer home is Mahindra & Mahindra, who will invest about 8,000 crore rupees in Nashik and 1,500 crore rupees in its Jharkhand plant. We also learned that RCF, or Rashtriya Chemical Fertilizers, will pump in about 5.5 thousand crore worth of investment in its plant in Raigad, and after that comes Godrej Industries, that will pump about 300,000 crore rupees in its plant in Kolhapur. What we also learn is the fact that the major confectionery giant Ferrero Rocher will pump in 1,500 crore rupees in its plant in Pune, and what we also learn is that the major developer Raheja is going to come up with an IT park which will mostly be in Pune and will see an investment of about 3.750 crore rupees. What remains to be seen is the fact that the kind of housing demand this will create going forward in Maharashtra.
All right, now the Maharashtra Chief Minister today unveiled AURIC, or Aurangabad Industrial City, the country's first comprehensive industrial city that will come up on the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor. To get you an insight into the plans of the government for the city, Vijay Deshpande caught up with the CEO of Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation. Check out that exclusive chat.
Industrial township is a departure from industrial estates. When you create industrial estates, you don't factor in the requirements for the urban population. It can be social infrastructure, it can be residential facilities. So at times it so happens is that in between the industrial estates, a lot of urbanization starts creeping in, which is not planned. And it creates additional taxing burden on the existing infrastructure. So the idea of industrial smart cities have come up, where they will not only consider the requirement for the industrial estates, but at the same time the area or the people who are working for that industrial estate. So walk to work concept, or the sustainable infrastructure, or the smart city, or the aligned kind of online infrastructure, those are all things will be considered into industrial smart cities.
Could you just elaborate a little bit more about Aurangabad Industrial City?
Aurangabad Industrial City, which is a part of Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, is a joint venture between Government of India and Government of Maharashtra, MIDC. So far, we have acquired 4,000 hectares of land, signed a state support agreement. A special company is being formed, the work is being assigned, and master planning is also being done with the international agencies like AECOM and CS2ML. And we are hopeful that since Aurangabad is traditionally industrial base already existing there, so this industrial city will attract a lot of attraction among the industrialists which are existing as well as who are planning to come afresh there.
My last question to you, just give us an update about the amount of investments that Maharashtra has attracted over the past 2 days.
Past few years we have been attracting a lot of investments across the sectors. As we know, Maharashtra's industrialization is very diverse, so investments are coming all through. Yesterday we have signed an MOUs of worth more than 4 lakh crores. So a lot of exciting times ahead. Thank you.
Sticking to Maharashtra, then Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has confirmed the construction of 9 lakh homes in the state while speaking at the Make in India event. This week, the CM announced that industry bodies CREDAI, NAREDCO and the Slum Rehab Authority were working to build these homes. On closer investigation, that announcement might have been a little premature, as the builders in question believe this sort of construction is only possible when the government comes out with the affordable housing policy first up. My colleagues Ruchi Deshpande and Disha Shah are tracking the story. Ruchi, let's take it across to you first. You take us through the big announcements.
Make in Mumbai, that is the next big ticket initiative that Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis wants to pursue after playing host to Make in India Week, that is on till the 18th of February. Now, yesterday on the third day of the Make in India Week, in the Make in Mumbai seminar, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis mentioned that developer body CREDAI and NAREDCO have pledged to build about 4 lakh as well as 1 lakh houses respectively in the city of Mumbai. He highlighted this problem further, saying that affordable housing was the need of the hour, and even the SRA, or the Slum Rehabilitation Authority, has offered to build 4 lakh houses with the help of a consortium. He further added that the Swedish government has had expressed interest in investing in this affordable housing sector, and that the Maharashtra government will soon sign a memorandum of understanding and see more investments come in this affordable housing sector.
All right, that's the roundup of the big announcements from Ruchi. Now, builders are demanding a conducive affordable housing policy in place first. So Disha, you spoke to the builders. How are they reacting to this?
That's right, the Big Bang announcements that Ruchi just spoke about, builders felt that these announcements are a little premature at the moment. They say that the massive dream of building 9 lakh affordable homes in the state of Maharashtra is little next to impossible for two reasons. Number one, the policy of affordable housing is not in place yet. So builders, they are demanding that that needs to come into force on an immediate basis. Secondly, developers have also been demanding that the government to build smaller homes of such a massive number in the span of 6 years. No incentives have been given on that front to the developers. So housing needs to be incentivized first. That's the demand that builders are expecting at the current moment. They have requested the government also a couple of points. For instance, concession in income taxes, long-term funding in the affordable housing space, incentives on taxes, interest rate of the sector needs to come down. That is what they are expecting, which stands at 6.5% currently, and they have put across these requests to the government, and they are hoping that some of these could be taken care of in the upcoming budget session. In fact, I also spoke to a couple of builders earlier on this, and let's listen into what they had to say.
We're talking of 6 crore homes, 4 crore rural homes and 2 crore urban homes, which is huge. On the Maharashtra level, again, we have a dream of creating 25 lakh homes over the next 4 years. So these are massive dreams, and we've been talking to the government that if we want to achieve this, we need to incentivize housing, and the whole industry is expecting something special to come out for affordable housing at least. So clearly, interest rate for affordable housing needs to come down. We need long-term funding for affordable housing. It's been a long-standing demand that housing should be treated on par with infrastructure. And once we have that, you will have long-term funding available to this sector, concessional lending available to this sector, and some tax incentives as well.
Government should come up with a joint participation wherein they bring the land, where the government has huge land available in different parts of the area. They bring the land, they give us an incentive in terms of the tax benefit, in terms of the premiums which we pay to the government, in terms of the VAT and excise duties which we pay to the government. If these kinds of benefits are given, and if there is a subsidized rate in terms of the stamp duty to the customer who buys homes,
it is time that government reconsiders giving income tax concessions and rebates to developers who are promoting smaller houses for LIG or lower middle group or EWS categories, and also who are into slum redevelopment projects. That also needs to be taken care of.
There's a lot of commuting issues that we face on a daily basis, so I feel that infrastructure development and commuting is one thing that this budget should take care of. That is a core issue.
For me, union budget, as a young generation, it's more related to startups. Like, we do have benefits right now, but we would like to see more benefits, because India is considered as a software hub for the overall world. We would like to see more benefits on that point also. Considering me as a salaried person, I would also like to see budget revolving around the residential areas. Like, if I have to buy home, it would take around 20 to 30 years for me to get one flat for me. So that is a big thing I'm expecting from the union budget this time.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi held an all-party meeting in the capital earlier in the day. At the meeting, the opposition parties raised a whole host of issues, and the government, on its part, has agreed to address every single one of them. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu said that the general consensus was to have a smooth Parliament session. This is crucial, as several key bills like the Real Estate Regulatory Bill and the GST Bill are still pending. Let's listen to what else Venkaiah Naidu had to say.
सरकार किसी विषय के बारे में सदन में रूल्स के अंतर्गत चर्चा करने के लिए कोई आपत्ति नहीं है. The government is always willing to walk an extra mile to accommodate the views of the opposition parties and take up discussion on each and every issue. By and large, friends, the mood was very good, very cordial, very constructive and meaningful suggestions. People spoke from the bottom of their heart, and some people also expressed concern how the media is blowing things out of proportion, section of the media.
On to the story that we promised you before the break. In South Delhi, companies like GMR, Fortis, Max and other commercial entities who've been paying property taxes on housing rates will now have to pay commercial rates, which means their property tax outgo will go up by nearly 4 times. This amount will run into crores of rupees. My colleague Suyesha Sawant joins us now with all the details.
See, what has happened is that with the Municipal Valuation Committee Report 3, which is being implemented by the South Corporation starting this financial year, most of the commercial entities, which include hospitals, malls, industrial areas, airport, 5-star hotels, they'll now be paying 4 times the property tax that they have been paying all these years. Now, just to explain to you, what happened is that when these commercial entities set up shop initially on the periphery of the city, they acquired land from the neighboring villages. Now, these villages fall under categories G and H, which have the lowest tax bracket in the city. So basically, these commercial entities have been paying as per the rates of housing taxes in this bracket. As per what was levied on these villages. But now what will happen is, starting this financial year, all these commercial entities that I named, hospitals, malls, industrial areas, airport, 5-star hotels, they will now fall in fall under category A. Now category A has the highest tax bracket. So now they will have to pay property taxes as per the commercial rates which will be in this category, which means that they will now have to pay 4 times of almost 4 times of what they have been paying all these years. Now, what I've also learned from my sources at the corporation is that big companies like GMR, Fortis, Max, Okla industrial area, the amount which will now come from there will run into crores, which will also be an added source of revenue for the corporation.
All right, then on to getting us a better perspective is Ashish Sood, leader of House of the South Delhi Municipal Corporation, who's joining us live here on the news on Magic Breakfast. Mr. Sood, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us over here. Tell us about the list of companies that will be affected after the third Municipal Valuation Committee is implemented.
There was a category called commercial category. In that commercial category, a change has been made suggested by the Municipal Valuation Committee, that is special commercial. That special commercial comprises of all super speciality hospitals, all malls, all big business houses with working in the commercial spaces, working in the big commercial areas. So that has been changed from commercial to super commercial, and the use factor of that has been raised to 6. That means there will be a slight increase in their share as compared to other small commercial establishments which are used by the small retailers or some other people.
Mr. Sood, I just want to get to the point right away. Let's say for a company like GMR, Fortis or Max, how much will be the increase in taxes in comparison to what they are paying at the moment?
There was a category called industrial category that has the rateable value of 3. Use factor was 3. The industrial category has been removed because there is not much of industrial activity going on in Delhi. The MVC 3 formed by Delhi government has suggested that they all should be converted into the commercial, where the use factor will be 4. So when this, there will be we have projected an increase of approximately 175 crores of house tax from all over the South Delhi Municipal Corporation. So in every category, I will not be able to give you the exact numbers, but as far as the GMR was concerned, all hotels in the airport complex was being calculated on the village category. So now because the land was occupied from the villagers, so now the category has been raised to the nearest area, that is Vasant Vihar. So it will be categorized as A. So there will be a marginal increase, there will be a good amount of increase in the commercial value of the house tax of airport also. We have projected an increase of 150 to 175 crore rupees in our budget, but extensive working into all these areas and all these commercial and industrial establishments, we aim to double this increase.
All right, Mr. Sood, I'm afraid we'll have to leave it at that because we're completely out of time here. Mr. Ashish Sood, leader of House of the South Delhi Municipal Corporation, thank you so much for taking time out to be this here in the News and Magic Breaks Now. And with that, it's a wrap here on this edition of the News and Magic Breaks Now. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.